Welcome to Cardboard Man. This is Will, and we've got Fran and Nabil, and you're probably watching this a little bit later after we've recorded it, probably a couple days later, but we just counted down to New Year's. We've been kind of playing games all day and all night, and having a blast, and we're going to have a little discussion on some New Year's stuff. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Feel free to add in your answers to some of these questions. Fran and Nabil have not been prepped in any way for some of these questions.
Going in blind.
Although, I mean, they probably could have. We were just discussing, Fran was just saying that he wished that he could buy less games. So would you call that a New Year's resolution? I mean, we haven't really talked about resolutions yet.
Yes. That's a great question. It's not a resolution because I know it's not. I'm not going to be able to hold up my end of the deal with.
But hang on, wait. Yeah. Are you counting expansions as games?
They count as games.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going out of my bank account and into my house.
But it's not a new game.
It's not a new game. I'm expanding a current game.
Your bank account's not losing weight.
Yeah.
Your collection's losing weight.
Yeah. So that's not, I wouldn't want to do. I don't like to do resolutions anyway, just because I know by time February hits, I've already gone back into old habits.
Second week of January.
So no, that is not a resolution. Although I would like to make an effort. And we were just talking, I guess, before the video, is to play more games that I have on my shelf more often, rather than playing new games, once and then kind of moving on to the next new hotness. I want to commit to getting the games that I do enjoy, because sometimes I don't know if it happens. I do know that it happens, but that you play a game that you think will be good, but it's not as good as you'd hope. I'd much rather spend that time playing a game that I love and I know that I will enjoy. I mean, I love playing a new game just as much as the next guy, but I know that I'm going to enjoy, like my favorite games. Champions of Midgard is an example that I haven't played in almost a year.
It has been a while,
and I love that game to bits, but it doesn't hit the table because we buy new games on such a frequent basis that we want to try the new games.
By that same token, how do you know you're not going to love that new game just as much, if not more?
That's true.
Right?
So that's
you never know unless you play it.
Yeah.
You can watch all the reviews on YouTube you want, but until you play it yourself,
you're not going to know.
You don't know.
No.
That's true. And we have recently played a few oldies that were considered the pinnacle of their genre.
Yeah.
Only to find that they aren't anymore. The past hype just didn't live up to the current mechanics, the visual graphic design, the component qualities. Everything has progressed in the board game world in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, we are spoiled for the fantastic publishing and content and stuff that is coming towards us. Sometimes at a higher price point, but there's just more being put into games now. I mean, I don't mean content-wise, but like the effort going into putting out a game is at a higher standard. Yeah. I think from especially from a production standpoint.
Yeah.
That if the game isn't an instant win, in your heart of board gaming, why keep it around? There's so many other games.
Well, there's so many other games. Exactly. There's so many other games out there, and frankly, as always, space is an issue.
Space is an issue,
right? So if the game doesn't give me instantly hell yeah, I want to play this game again.
Yeah.
Even if I lose, I still had a great time. Why am I going to take up space in my shelf, where frankly real estate is at a premium?
Yeah.
To keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I would agree with that for sure. It's a tricky thing. You always want to try the new thing, but
it's a tough balance.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my kind of resolutions for the year would be similar along those lines. Not necessarily to try less new ones, but just to buy less in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I probably overdid it with my budgeting last year. And,
I think we all made
there were some unhappy members of my household who preferred that I did not buy so much. And I get it, I broke the bank a little bit, and I'm trying to sell off games that are not instant wins. Yeah. But if I slow down that pace, I get a chance to play the games more and learn whether they are worth selling or not, or worth putting on my shelf or not.
The other thing about playing so many new games and not going back to the ones you already played is that you have so much time in between plays that you have to relearn the game all over again.
Sometimes,
which I look at my shelf and I'm like, you know what? I should play this game again. And I'm like, do I know how to play it?
I don't
No.
remember.
It's going to take me another hour and a half to learn the game, and then however long to set it up, and then however long to play it, and then I got to tear it down. Like, if I can cut out that hour and a half of learning or hour of learning,
another game,
I'm much more likely to play it, right? So playing it a couple of times in quick succession might cement it more in my head. And then it's easier to get to the table later on.
Yeah, relearning the rules for a game again. Like we've played Champions of Midgard so many times, but if I was to pull it out, I'd probably know it, but I'd still have to remember. Okay, what are the things I have to do to set it up and all that. So if we played it more often, you could just throw it on the table and just kind of boom, 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 set it up much quicker. So that's another consideration is learning the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will make a joke about New Year's resolutions. Usually they're revolving around weight. We kind of talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I've found myself essentially being on like what I'm calling the board game diet, as in the board game weight loss diet. Because I find that if I'm especially making videos or if I'm playing like a bigger solo game, I am too distracted by the game.
Yeah.
To think about snacking, right? And I found that I'm now eating less junk food in the evenings,
Right. Interesting.
because I'm playing more games, right? And I know sometimes we have like a little bit of snacks, when we're hanging out and playing, but I'll probably eat less even when I'm here,
Yeah.
when we're together, than if I am just
Sitting in front of a TV.
watching a movie or a TV show or something.
Yeah.
And you going through an entire bag of popcorn or chips.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a baking or cooking show. Oh, forget it. I 5 minutes into the show. Gotta go to the fridge.
Hungry now.
Yeah, no, eating during games is something that I tend to get involved in games too, and I tend not to snack unless we pop open a bag of chips, and that kind of goes around the table. So
yeah, I'm usually the one who instigates.
I'm usually worse at that.
I'm a bad influence.
You guys want anything to drink?
Yeah.
You guys want anything to eat? Yeah. You'll bust out the snacks first. But
Bad influence, good host. Bad influence.
great host.
Yeah.
I love going to his house for games.
Yeah.
But you gain a few pounds when you come back.
Yeah. Well, I think if I'm going to make a board game resolution, it's going to be to back less Kickstarters. I backed way too many Kickstarters last year.
And smaller, way too many big Kickstarters.
Way too many big Kickstarters. And it's to the point where I have to I've got to buy a whole new Kalax shelf and fit it somewhere in my house. Which means I have to delete a shelf that I already have.
Yeah.
Or move it somewhere else in the house
Right.
to make room for the new Kalax, to make room for the 35 boxes I'm getting this year. Assuming everything ships on time.
Yeah.
So I think that's my resolution if I'm going to make one.
Yeah.
We'll see if I hold to it.
I don't know. There's always
Ask me again in February.
Yeah, when they put out those new pages and they put out the pictures and stuff, and it's this looks really cool.
I have to unbookmark those sites.
Man.
A little bit. Or stop checking them every
Or stop checking them every uninstall the apps, delete the bookmarks, stop checking them every 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of checking them, I will say, what is probably the biggest Kickstarter delivery you're hoping to see this year?
Start with you. You got a few coming
The
in.
biggest one?
Or one that you're most excited about, right? Not necessarily like the largest monetary or size.
Well, I think it's a toss-up between two of them. One of them being Marvel United X-Men.
Oh.
I went all in on it.
Okay.
Because I'm a huge X-Men fan.
Yeah.
As you guys have probably guessed.
We played the base game
We did.
afterwards, right? Did they deliver the base game first?
So you had the option to go with either one wave or two wave shipping.
Okay.
So if you do the two wave shipping, you get the base game early, and then all the expansions come later, which being next year. And I think it's like earlier this year, supposedly.
All right.
Anyways, there's a lot of content, and I only have the base game for the original Marvel United, which I find it's a good game at its core, but it needs more content. And the expansions
it gets stale quick. Huh?
Yeah, the expansions add so much more content. They add a lot of neat, unique mechanics with all the villains that you fight, and there's a variety of heroes that you can use is just staggering.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'm definitely excited for. But that's one that's going to take up like half of a KLAX shelf on its own. And then the other one that I'm really excited for is Mythic Battles Ragnarok.
Cool.
We recently played Mythic Battles Pantheon.
We played.
It's an excellent skirmish game.
It's a great skirmish game. Before playing that game, I didn't really like skirmish games.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of finicky rules and that you have to keep track of. Not just in the core mechanics, but also like your units have a lot of finicky rules. So that's a bit frustrating sometimes, but and it's hard to get to the table because it's
such a big game.
Such a
the
massive
sorting,
setup and teardown.
You know, just to get things going is.
But with Mythic Battles Ragnarok, they've promised a whole set of solo scenarios, which I don't have for Mythic Battles Pantheon. I think there are some out there, but I just don't have that set or whatever. So that's going to make it much more likely for me to actually play it.
Very nice.
Also, the minis for the Mythic Battles games are just some of the most detailed, high quality minis I've ever seen. So those are probably the ones that I'm most excited about.
Very cool.
All right, Fran, what are you looking forward to?
For me, so I'm not the biggest Kickstarter guy to begin with, luckily. I don't have too many. I think it's a slippery slope. I try to stay away from it, and I don't like the waiting game after backing the game, and then you're like kind of sitting there, and some deliver on time, some you're delayed, and so I like to wait for retail, and when they hit there, I can have the game right away. So for me, I think I have a couple on the way. One that I'm really looking forward to is a game called Endless Winter. I completely forgot. Yeah. Endless Winter is one that I backed last year, and I'm looking forward to receiving that one. I've got a couple of games in that genre of deck building worker placement combination that I really enjoy. Lost Ruins of Arnak is one, and Dune Imperium is another one that I love, and I think we all enjoy them.
Those are both awesome.
This is another game in that category where it combines deck building with worker placement. It's got a fantastic production based on the page. They're doing a great job with that, and the theme is different from the other two as well. It's kind of based in the paleo kind of era with cavemen. So it looks like a really cool theme. And I'm excited to receive that one. So looking forward to that. Hopefully it'll get delivered maybe in Q1 or Q2.
They're already full on in production. Trays are being made right now, so it's it's on its way.
That one's high on my list. And
it was good. We played an earlier version on Tabletop Simulator. And it gave me a real Viscounts of the West Kingdom vibe, which I absolutely love that game. Yeah. So it's I think it's gonna be going.
Yeah. So that one's pretty good. And then I backed an expansion for Vindication, which is a game that I enjoy, but I want to get more out of it. It adds some solo scenarios. It adds some different mechanics. So I'm looking forward to receiving the new expansion for Vindication as well. So.
And I'm looking forward to, which should be delivered Q3, I think, of this year, is a Perseverance.
Yes.
Which is technically episodes 1 and 2 of Perseverance from Mind Clash Games. And they are renowned for their big meaty Euro games, like Anachrony. And I also tagged Tricurion onto that order because they're bundling all of the content for it as in one price. So that's coming on top of that, which is also exciting. But Perseverance, the theme alone of Yuri on a cruise ship, like a modern day cruise ship that kind of went into the fog and kind of disappeared.
Oh God!
And then crashed onto this island.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're finding that there are like dinosaurs and stuff on this island.
Cool.
Nabil's ears have
awesome. That's got my attention.
And like plants and things you don't recognize, and you're completely stranded there. So you are now trying to kind of rally the cruise, like the people on the cruise, the like thousands of people who are on this giant, huge cruise ship.
Yeah.
To dismantle the cruise ship to build settlements, and now you've got warring factions over like political factions trying to we want to go out and explore, and we need to work on food, and so you're kind of competing with this while the dinosaurs are starting to take offense to your encroaching upon their territory and attack.
Yeah.
So that's episode 1. And part two
Yeah.
is that you've now domesticated to an extent the dinosaurs.
Oh, this sounds like Ark.
And are now exploring.
Survival Evolved.
Yeah.
Board
It's got a lot of that. And then now you're exploring
Interesting.
deeper into the mysteries of this island.
Cool.
And the 2 episodes, also with the 2 more episodes that are probably going to kickstart next year, will all flow together in one massive campaign.
Oh my god.
As well. with lasting,
It's very heavy,
with
though,
like
man.
lasting changes and stuff. Oh yeah, it's
Wow.
It's a very.
it's up there with like Anachrony plus an expansion maybe.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, Mind Clash is like all their games are kind of those
They're
like
kind of
massive.
But and they all have
Huge
unique
boxes.
themes.
Yeah.
But even though they're Euros, they nail the theme.
Yeah,
in it.
the theme looks pretty cool. So yeah, I'm glad you backed that because I want to play it.
Yeah.
It's another reason I don't back Kickstarters because these guys. Probably
Yeah, this guy has to do it for him. Other one that I just thought of, I remembered, is Marvel Dice Throne.
Marvel Dice Throne.
Oh, did you back that one?
I sure
Okay,
did.
yeah.
I sure did.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite games.
Dice Throne is like one of my favorite games, and Marvel. How
Why
can you
not?
go wrong?
Why not more?
All right, let's shift focus away
Shift
from
gears.
games a little bit onto challenges. You guys have probably seen people doing on social media the various board game
10 by 10
related
challenge.
challenges. To set this up, this is like doing 10 games 10 times in a year, or
Oh wow.
I think someone I saw recently on social media played one game 365 times
Once
throughout
per
the
day.
year. Once, maybe multiple times
day.
one day or
Multiple times
something.
Same day, yeah.
Or increasing your H index is one thing I saw, which is the number of times you've played the game
with the same people.
times the number of times you've played times the number of games.
Right.
So if you've played 11 games 11 times, or like but in your lifetime, not just in that one year,
Right.
right? But increasing that depth and breadth of your index.
Yep.
Right. So like right now I'm at I think I'm at 10. So I played.
Yep.
Not included since I've started tracking my plays, I'm at 10 games I've played 10 times.
Yeah.
But there's certainly many more that are close to that. There are 9s or 11s, and that might be one I might go for.
Yep.
Is trying to
Trying to get that index.
get 11 games 11 times or something, or increase that.
Yeah, that goes to my first point. Going into the resolutions, just playing more of my games more often. So I think that's definitely something I want to focus on. Is I don't know if necessarily I want to get into a challenge, which I wouldn't be opposed to. Like I would love to try one of those that kind of we can do. Maybe something that's helped me with that is playing more campaign or legacy style games, which forces you to play that game over and over again. So I have a couple on the shelf that I've been trying to get off. Betrayal Legacy is one, which I've heard is better than the base Betrayal because it forms an overarching narrative that you can kind of play through. Pandemic Legacy seasons 1 and 2. We actually played season 0 last year, which was excellent as a game. So I want to try season 1, which started the whole kind of legacy aspect. Supposed to be still to this day considered one of the better legacy games out there. So that'll help kind of playing that same game over and over. And I like that thing. So I'm open to.
I'm always amazed when I see people saying how I've played this game 40 times.
Yeah, I don't know how you get up there.
That's nuts. Yeah.
That's a lot for any one game anyways, but the fact that people play the one gun game that many times, we just have too much games at our disposal.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't mean individually, I mean collectively we are all buying so many games that
the rotation is
the
too
rotation
long.
is huge.
Yeah, that's true. I can see some of those challenges becoming a chore though.
Yeah.
If you're trying to force yourself to play a game like 365 times in a year,
and I don't want it to be a chore.
Yeah, I think that's a bit on
the
the extreme side, but 5 games 5 times in a year, I think would be even an improvement for us, because there are games that we love that we don't play 5 times in 5 years.
Yeah,
because of how big the rotation is,
or because of how hard it is to get to the table.
How far? Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So that's certainly one thing. I don't know if you want to touch on. We're trying this new thing. We're trying out the heavy game Saturday or a difficult game Saturday, which is certainly helping because some of our games are so they just kind of the overhead is so high in terms of getting it to the table. that they just normally don't fit in a regular game night where you're playing different other games. So we're setting a one Saturday in a month, or one weekend in a month, where we'll kind of bring each of one of our difficult games that we normally don't play to the table, so that we can kind of get more of those games played and play them more often. So that's something. And
even fitting into the resolutions a little bit, we're also starting to be more careful of not buying all the same games. Right? It still happens. So with things like Cascadia, and
some of the lighter ones,
and Terraforming Mars Ares. I think each one of everyone in our group bought one. But some of the bigger stuff will now talk when we're seeing sales and stuff online, and
you have that one.
So you're buying that one. Okay, I don't feel like I need to buy it anymore.
One of those is I really, 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 really want to play Ark Nova when it comes out. But I knew as soon as I saw it that it would be right up Will's alley. So I'm like, you know what? Will's probably going to buy this.
I haven't ordered it yet.
So I don't know if I need to pre-order it.
But it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And that's why I was like, you know what? I don't need to do it.
It's like so many games that are already on my top 10 list that I'm going to have to get it at some point.
Yeah, I know I'm going to like it. It looks like it hits so many...
okay, so all right, so scooching on here, most anticipated game next year. What Ark Nova? I think Ark Nova would probably be my most anticipated.
Ark Nova's up there for sure. Not including Kickstarters.
Yeah, not including Kickstarters.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. Ark Nova is probably my number one most anticipated game that I know of so far.
It's not in Canada yet. I know. I've been seeing a lot of social media.
People have started
in the world playing it. It's not here yet.
That's a good one. I don't know because I know there's going to be in March. There's going to be a game that comes out that people are going to announce.
I'm sure there's stuff we're going to see at Gen Con.
I don't know. I'll let you go because I want to think about this one.
Okay, well, I mean, Ark Nova is probably the highest, but I'm also really looking at Messina 1347 or Messina 1347. It's the new Vladimir Suchi game. Same guy who did Underwater Cities and Last Will and Pulsar. And I've not played one of his games that I didn't immediately fall in love with. And Pragikabut Regni was also jumped way up my list after getting that. And this is his next big game. And the idea is the Black Plague has started in medieval Europe, and you are now fleeing the cities, trying to kind of pick up survivors and stuff as you go, while also stamping out the rats that are trying to sneak aboard your wagons and things and getting out while quarantining, making sure people are not getting sick. I mean, it's a little bit on the nose for kind of our current situation, but we're not fleeing our homes. We're not, we're hiding in place. But the theme is really interesting, and the mechanics seem very cool too. So
nice.
I'm keeping an eye on that.
For me, I think it would be one of the I don't know the names, but the South Seas series.
The new trilogy.
The new trilogy from Raiders of the.
I forgot about that one.
No, sorry, it's not South Seas. It's called
South Tigris.
South Tigris, Tigris or Tigris. There's Raiders of the North Sea and Architects of the West Kingdom were the first of those two series, and then. No, Raiders was actually not the first. It was one of the games in that series. So the new trilogy is coming out by Shem Phillips and Garfield Games. So I'm excited. I've enjoyed all the games that he's released so far, and looking forward to what the new ones bring. I haven't looked too much into them, but just
the first one in the series is. I mean, we know where it takes place.
Sure. Yeah.
But the idea is you are. Wise men and watching star charts and cataloging the stars and creating those those first star charts that are then used to help navigate and explore.
I love it
and stuff.
So I mean the artwork I love as well in those games, and the mechanics have been great for so far. So. Looking forward to those. I think those are coming out Kickstarter first, but hopefully I think they'll come to retail by the end.
They always come to retail, but they Kickstarter first.
Kickstarter first and then retail. So.
Very cool.
All right, what campaign games are you guys looking to play in the next year?
Ooh, campaign. I've already talked about my top three was the Betrayal Legacies and the two pandemics. I do also want to play, and it's 2022, so we'll probably start it. It's a Wonderful World. Is a game that I enjoyed deeply, and they've released a campaign box that came to retail, which I picked up. And it's a short campaign. It's not long, but it's still a campaign nonetheless. So it has, I think, 5 games that you unveil envelopes as you go along and add new cards. And then once you've added those cards, then you can use them in your games moving forward. So I'm excited to play those games, I think, for the campaign wise. And I'm sure there'll be more that'll come up, but those are a few that I'm looking forward to.
We've been talking about this one for a little while now, getting it to the table, but it's a bit of a beast. I really want to try Sleeping Gods.
Ah, yes.
Because there's so much hype surrounding it. Everyone seems to love it, and it seems super interesting.
Our next big game day.
Yeah.
Difficult game Saturday for Sleeping Gods.
Sit down for 10, 13 hours. Do it.
Yeah.
That one. And other one that I've been thinking about playing again, and it goes back to our first question about games that we have that we want to get to the table more. I want to go back and revisit Sword and Sorcery. It's a dungeon crawl, and which that genre is just so saturated. You could argue the theme is generic. It's generic fantasy, high fantasy, which is not untrue. But I love the game, and I have everything for it. But I've only played through the core box.
Oh yeah.
I've got the 3 expansion boxes. I just bought the Ancient Chronicles box. I've got every character. Like, the only thing I don't have are the upgraded components.
Sure, which you don't need for the campaign. Yeah.
No, you don't. I mean, it might expand, improve your immersion in the world, but otherwise you don't really need it for the game. And it's just I haven't gone into the table because of the setup and teardown. And then every time you put it away, you got to set it back up again.
Yeah.
But it's such a fun, great game.
Yeah.
It's my campaign game that I want to play. I've got a couple on the go. Like, I'm soloing Base Gloomhaven. I'm playing Jaws of the Lion with my son. Those ones I want to get through. I'm playing My City with my wife. And none of those are anywhere near completion. So
No.
I do want to just finish them. I don't have a lot of other campaign games. Perseverance might be one that I want to get through, but that's probably only 4 games to get through, like the mini campaign. There's not a ton of multiplays in it. But yeah, I definitely want to get Sleeping Gods out. I want to play more Subcontinent. I don't know whether I'll do that solo or if these guys are interested or not.
Could play it for sure.
But
I would be down.
We'll definitely maybe start with, we'll do one of the shorter curses.
We could do.
Not the first one. The first one's long.
Yeah.
A couple more I just thought of that while we're doing campaigns that I haven't played in a while. Actually, Arkham Horror, the card game, which I've played the first 4 campaigns solo. So it might be an opportunity in 2022 to do a multiplayer campaign, because when I got into it, we were in lockdown, and I just expanded on it, by myself, and I have
literally expanded your expansion collection.
I think blew up is the more appropriate.
It blew up, but I enjoy it tremendously, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to trying that, maybe a campaign multiplayer. Same with Lord of the Rings, the card game, which was also a great one. Is an older one, but really good. And then the newest Marvel Champions expansion. So I'm in on all 3 of those card games, which are huge, but they're great games. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I play them.
Yeah.
I have not yet either.
I've been wanting to play Marvel Champions again.
Yeah.
We just played it the one time.
Yeah.
And
the curse of the rotation. I mean, there's so many games, so yeah, it'll get there eventually.
All right. So, how about unobtainable games you're hoping to find, like Grail games that are maybe they're non-print or they're just really hard to get. What one game are you hoping to find this year? Maybe it comes back into print. Yeah. Maybe you find it on the Facebook Marketplace somewhere, or in a dusty corner of your friendly local game shop.
Yeah.
it's been ignored for years.
Yeah.
That's
What
a
are you
tough
What
one.
are you looking forward to?
It's a good one. Nabil got one of his last year via Kickstarter. So
Yeah, I did.
Apex Theropod deck building.
Apex Theropod deck building game.
We've been talking about that for a while and finally came back in print. So
yeah, well, they Kickstarter. They had a second Kickstarter where they included everything in one box, and
so that was good.
Kickstarter went smoothly, unlike the first one apparently.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, I haven't played this one, so I mean it's not really a Grail game, but it's a game that I've been wanting to try. Is Palaces of Carrara, and it's a Euro game, and it's an older one, but it is coming back in print, so they're doing I guess a revamped version of it. So I'm excited to. Probably not going to back it, but I'm excited to play it and hopefully pick it up if it comes to retail. So that's one that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll wrap my brain. Yeah,
I was for a long time looking at Renegade, and which is a cyberpunk kind of like Pandemic meets Spirit Island style cooperative survival game, and we actually just played it. Thanks to my friend John, he lent us the games. We had a chance to play it, and I did really enjoy it. The puzzle is very different than a lot of board games.
Yeah.
The way that you can build pathways so you can zip around the board eventually and push things from far away. I think I have to give it a couple more plays though before I decide if I want to actually continue to look for it for my own collection. But I did enjoy playing it, and I think there's just so much content in the box too. Not just from variability in cards, but the different scenarios you can encounter or the goals and stuff that you have to achieve to beat are all very different. It's not just more reds this turn or more blues this turn. I mean, like when we were playing the first time, we had to convert a certain number of enemies, in the round in order to beat it. And the second time we had to build like pathways everywhere, or we had to like spread out our red tokens like all over the board. So they're all fairly unique in how they worked, and I like that aspect of it.
a little tough to wrap your head around at first.
It was. The rulebook needs a rewrite.
Oh yeah, sure. And lots of terminology that doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that, it is a great puzzle. It's a really fun.
It's got a hurdle, to get into, but I think it's one of those that needs repeated plays, and then once you wrap your head around what it is, like Nabil
That's
said.
why I feel like I need to play it more before I decide to pull it or add it.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever own it for myself personally, even though it does have a really good solo mode apparently.
Yeah.
But I think I would be happy to play it anytime anybody else wants to play it. That's a tough question. Grail games that I'm looking for, I don't know that there is one that I can think of at the moment.
Yeah. It's stuff that you read about on BGG, and then you research it and you find out it's out of print, and then you're like, oh.
Well, I mean, like I've for years, like I was looking for more expansions for Mythic Battles Pantheon, but they never came to retail. They were only available in the Kickstarter, and I think, like you can find some of them on like the BGG marketplace, but they're either in Europe and they're not shipping to Canada, and it's in euros, so you're paying like ridiculous exchange rate, or you can find some in the US, and because they're so rare, they charge a lot of money for them, and then you got to pay for shipping, and they're heavy boxes. Plus, like, do I need more stuff for that game? No, probably not.
That's where I find I'm coming to is like sometimes I don't need more. Like my urge to complete the collection is high. Yeah. But do I really need that expansion if I'm never going to play it?
Yeah.
Right? Like there's just too much. Like I was looking at the literally it's called the expansion for Teotihuacan.
Right.
And I as much as it looks cool, I feel like it's just more stuff that is not needed.
Right.
The base game is already excellent, and we covered expansions fairly recently on the list we did. That and the fact that any game that is really excellent is probably going to be reprinted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not getting reprinted, is it really that excellent? Right?
Yeah, there's a couple of games actually that are supposed to be really good. I know on a lot of people's Grail list is a game called Glory to Rome.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a licensing issue.
And it's sometimes a licensing issue, so it's not for lack of trying. I know for the longest time, Bruges was on my list, a Stefan Feld game that was really hard to find. I eventually did got my hands on a copy. I did pay a little bit more than what it was worth. But I'm glad I have it. But they then, again, reprinted it on Kickstarter under a different name, but it's pretty much the same game, and they're doing it for a few more. So slowly these games are coming back into circulation, albeit at higher prices, but deluxified versions, what have you. So Rococo was another one under that kind of got the deluxe treatment, so it's back into circulation. So eventually
you'll Icky, which we're about to play, since it ends on New Year's Day, and like the gameplay, you play through 12 months of the year and then have a New Year's Day festival.
Yay.
So we're playing that next, even though it is 1 a.m. We're gonna start it. But that was a game that had a very low publication amounts,
right?
And yet still got critical acclaim. And only just now, after years and people raving about it, but being impossible to find, they've completely revamped and redesigned like all the artwork, the graphic design, tweaked the gameplay, and
it's back.
Yeah, well, it's back. It's back. We'll see how we feel after I play it.
Let's go play it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think we're done here. We'll probably see more content coming into the new year. Hopefully, as we go into the kind of around the lockdowns and school closures and stuff, we'll still be able to meet up and play more games.
Yep, fingers crossed.
Until then, a happy new year. Let us know what are you looking for this new year, and have a good one.
Play more games.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everyone.